Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of my Sunderland 11. As always, we are in association with the Sunderland Food Bank and the Sunderland Fans Museum. They do incredible work, so please go and check them out. All the links of how you can support are in the description below. With me, I've got a very special guest. I've got ex-Sunderland player Gordon Armstrong with me. Gordon, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Matthew. Yes, and yourself?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. I was third lockdown now. How are you finding it? What's it like in your household?
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Yeah, it's not easy, is it? But yeah, you just got to keep going, I think, and hopefully can all turn around within sort of 4, 5, 6 months. Maybe we can get back to somewhere near normality. So that would be good news. But let's think.
Yeah, exactly. It is, and at least we still do have football. But if I ask you, so take it right back to sort of the beginning for you. What are your sort of memories of growing up watching football?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah. From first thing I remember, I was a Sunderland fan, so they were always my team, and still are, obviously. And yeah, and just I can vaguely remember sort of the 1973 Cup final, and that was sort of what would it be then, about 6, something like that. I can vaguely remember that, so that's my first real sort of memory of a soccer match, I think. And then I remember going to a Cup Winners' Cup game. We played Vasas Budapest in the year after that when we'd won the cup. And I remember going to that a night game. So that must have been my first game live. I was about 7-year-old. I remember being in the stand with my mum and dad. And that was a fantastic memory. Yeah. So they were my big memories just growing up. Obviously, being a Sunderland fan, you get your disappointments. But yeah, some great times.
Excellent. So how did it sort of come about that you went from just being a Sunderland fan to actually being a Sunderland player?
Yeah, I was basically played. I brought up in Newcastle predominantly, and so I was playing for Newcastle City Boys, and I was picked up by Charlie Ferguson, who was the chief scout then. He asked me to come for a trial. I'd been to a couple of clubs and could have signed for Tottenham. But once Sunderland came in for us, I'd made my mind up that I was only ever really wanted to sign for one place. I could have signed for Tottenham and I'd sort of a guarantee what they call scholarship now. But I didn't want to do that, and I just, I only really wanted to play for Sunderland. I had offers from other clubs and bits and bobs to go on trial, but so that's where I ended up going. Yeah.
So obviously you played for Sunderland. You playing on the pitch at Roker Park, which is a dreamer I'm sure every Sunderland fan had at the time. What was it actually like to be on the pitch at Roker Park? What was sort of the atmosphere like, and what did it feel like?
Yeah, listen, as I said earlier on, as a Sunderland fan, there's ups and downs with Sunderland, massive ones. We had some great highs and I had some great lows. I got relegated in the first season I played in the first team from the top league then, as it was Division 1. And then we had some great highs with promotions. So, it was a bit of everything, getting to a cup final, all them things. But well, I always say a nighttime game at Roker Park was like special. It was different, and it was an amazing atmosphere if you got a good crowd in.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say you're sort of like? Obviously, you played at Wembley in the was it the '92 Cup final against Liverpool. What would you say your sort of your best memory is at playing for Sunderland?
I'll probably pick out 2, to be fair. We obviously beating Newcastle in the playoffs, and Chelsea winning in the quarterfinal of the cup of that year in '92. That was special. But my best memory is going to Newcastle in the second leg of the playoffs and beating them there. To be brought up in Newcastle and all the stick that I've taken over the years, to go there and to win 2-0 and the second leg, that was amazing. So that's my bestest memory. Yeah.
Fantastic. So we sort of take sort of times a little bit forward to sort of now. Obviously, weird times that we're living in, where we're not allowed in the stadiums. How have you sort of found watching the games now, and how's it sort of different? How do you find that?
Yeah, obviously, massive difference with the crowds not being in. Watching stuff on the internet and watching Sunderland on the internet, watching other games on live on the telly without crowds. It's not quite the same. I don't think anybody thinks it is. The players don't. Us as fans don't. but it's the best we've got at the moment, and it does keep the nation entertained. So it's one of the things that obviously everybody loves. So it's important that it keeps going, I think, and it's been good that it has.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. Just one last question before we go through your team. It's a question I ask all the guests that come on, and if you could just put into your own words, what does Sunderland AFC mean to you?
Yeah, it means a hell of a lot. Yeah, it's a club I've loved, like I said, since I was 2 year old, or since that before I can remember. Anyway, I don't know what age, but I think I sum it up best is basically the year we got relegated. I can't remember exactly the year, but it was something like 74, 75, around there. I think we got relegated when Coventry, like basically Jimmy Hill, put the game back and they drew against Bristol City. We had to get a result to stay up. And I just remember me mum and dad falling out over the fact that I was crying my eyes out because Sunderland got relegated. I probably was only 8 or 9, but that's what it means, to be fair. It's my club and I love it daily. So, I only want the best for it. Sometimes I get involved with things that maybe I shouldn't, but I love it and I just want the best for it. So, that's all I can say.
Yeah, no, fantastic. So that's all great to hear. So obviously we want to look back on some more great memories that you've got, and doing that, you've got your Sunderland 11. So
Yep.
What's it? What formation have you gone with? Is it a 4-4-2?
Basic 4-4-2 is what I was brought up with, it, to be fair, and all these fancy ones now were all different. So I just stuck to what I've been brought up and what I knew. But yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, then. So we'll start off with who you've got in goal.
Yeah, it's Barry Siddall. It was one of the main reasons that I fell in love with like football. I think, to be fair, I just remember as a kid, all the fans used to sing his name, and it used to go Siddall every time he made a save and stuff. And just the whole of the Roker end and where I used to stand and the forward end used to sing it when he made a save. And he was a bit of a character anyway. He was like this big chested. A lot of time used to wear a cap and stuff. I remember it that way anyway. And he was just a larger than life character, and I loved him. I don't think he was the best keeper of all the ones we've had. Obviously there's Jimmy Montgomery, Pickford. You could go through, but if you're just talking about who I loved the most, then I would say probably Siddall was my number one. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's what it's all about. So that's a good goalkeeper to have. So we're going to go to your fullbacks now. So we'll start with who you got at right back.
Yeah, I've got John Kerr, who was a teammate of mine, and they used to call him like afterwards. And I think at the time as well, to be fair, the red and white tractor, and that's what he was like. He would just go into anything, make a tackle. I haven't put many of my old teammates in here, but I had to put Casey in because I just loved him to bits anyway. He was the best lad in the world. He was a little bit mad, but in the loveliest way. He was a special man, and I haven't seen him in a while, but he was a great player as well. He was underrated as a footballer, good footballer. He'd run all day, fit as a fiddle. Unfortunately, broke his leg a couple of times at Sunderland, so that really hindered his career a bit. But a fantastic player and a fantastic human being.
Fantastic. So we'll switch over now to your who you got a left back. So who will be playing there?
Yeah, it's Joe Bolton. Again, he was a little bit of a hero of mine growing up. The lads that are not old enough like yourself to have seen him play at all or know anything about him. He was like, a larger-than-life character, a big guy, played predominantly left back, sometimes played at like left side centre-back, I think, occasionally. But he was a big lad, aggressive, strong, put his foot into challenges, and you always knew what he was about. If he was playing, he was very committed and had a good left foot and scored the occasional good goal as well, to be fair. So a very good player, and fans loved him at the time, because I think Sunderland fans love really committed players, and he was certainly one.
Yeah, fantastic. We had Peter Farrion, the taxi driver from Sunderland Till I Die. He put him in his team. So yeah, I think he's a player a lot of supporters do remember from that time. Yeah. So brilliant. So that's your left back and right back. Go to your central defenders first.
Yeah, I'll go to one that I put on the left-hand side, which would be Shaun Elliott, who I grew up with, and then was lucky enough to play with a little bit as well, to be fair. Shaun was, again, an aggressive lad, but very quick, lightning quick, great left foot, strong, good in the air. He played, I think, England B, and maybe should have done even better in his career than he did, but he was a very good player. He was a country lad. He was from Haydenbridge, which is a lot of my family was from. So I knew him anyway a little bit, and his family. So, but he was a really, really good player, and a fan's favourite as well, to be fair.
Fantastic. So we'll go now to his central defensive partner.
Yeah,
who you got there?
Who, again, I don't know as much about Dave Watson. He's from a little bit the 73, but everybody that I've spoken to about said he was the best player from the 73 Cup final. And I've spoken to most of the lads that played in the 73 Cup final team, and they said he was the best player. And I do remember him as a kid. He was a giant, and he used to sometimes even go and play centre forward. I think when he came to the club, he was a centre forward. But he ended up playing for England and had a great career, went on to play for Derby and teams like that. So he was a proper player. Sad to hear that a little bit of the struggles he's having at the moment, but a great player for Sunderland Football Club. And I know all the 73 guys love him immensely. So a proper man and a proper footballer, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I think he was just someone who was really solid as well. Like, I mean, for me, like I was born in 2003, so what I've seen of defenders, I mean, I haven't seen the best really, but from the stories that I've heard, doing these videos as well, a lot of people have picked Dave Watson from that sort of time. So yeah, that's a good choice there. So that's your back four. So it's a very solid back four. Go to your midfield now. So we'll start off with who you have on the left wing.
Yeah, on the left wing is probably a little bit left field, as I might say, but somebody that he was my youth team coach, was Leighton James, tremendously talented, had the two best feet I've ever seen on a footballer, to be fair. Didn't make any difference to him. He was on his right foot or his left foot. He was a little bit crazy, old Leighton, to be fair. He was mad, and he could fall out with anybody, but what a talented player. Jeepers, he could turn a fullback inside out. And it was at the end of his career a little bit like at the same time. I think Frank Worthington came into the club, and but what a talented player. He'd obviously played many internationals for Wales when they had a decent side and stuff. And he was a great player, and I loved watching him play. And like I say, I was just like a young apprentice then, but fantastic player.
Fantastic. So we'll switch now to your right winger. Have you got there?
Is Nicky Summerbee. I think, again, I was sort of playing when Nicky was in the team at Sunderland, so I didn't see loads and loads of him, but I played against him a few times at Sunderland. When I was at Sunderland, I played against him at Bury and also at Man City as well, to be fair. And he's everything I'd want predominantly from a winger, a wide player. He's not lightning quick, but he was quick enough. Over sort of 10 yards, and the biggest thing about him is once he got into a wide position is he put in great quality into the box for your centre forwards, and he was everything you'd want from a wide player, I'd say. And I love watching him play because he's creating chances for your forwards every game that he plays. Yeah,
he was just one of those players as well for sort of like Quinn and Phillips that made up that great team. And I think that people say Quinn and Phillips would never have scored as many goals if they didn't have Nicky Summerbee, crossing those crosses in.
Quality player, no doubt about it.
Yeah, fantastic, great choice there. So we'll go to your central midfielders now. Do you want to start us off with who you've gone with? Yeah,
I've gone for Kevin Arnott, who's one of the, one of my heroes, sort of thing. He was. He played in about that time, Shaun Elliott and all them sort of guys are coming through. He came in and he just had a way about him. He wasn't an aggressive midfield player. He was a cultured midfield player, central midfield player, got on the ball, and had a natural talent for picking a pass and scored some great goals, free kicks and things like that. He just had this sort of natural way about him that it caught your eye. He was quite easy-ozy. Like I say, he wasn't massively aggressive and won loads of tackles or anything like that. But he was very, very good on the ball technically, and he was a hero of mine. Like I say, when I was a young kid, I loved watching him play. Yeah,
fantastic. So his midfield partner.
Bobby Kerr, the little general. To be fair, I've met Bobby loads of times now, and he's a great guy. but also did, an unbelievable job for the club in terms of his appearances, his goals, everything. Bobby had a little bit of everything. I know sometimes he played wide right, but he had great energy and a passion for the game. And I watched loads of stuff. So obviously the cup runs and things like that. And what a good player, to be fair. And a credit to himself and to our football club, to be fair, right? So he's another hero of mine, and that's why I put him in.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, of course, just him, the last player to really hold up a major honour for Sunderland as well. So yeah, fantastic player there. So yeah, that's your midfield and defence done. So we'll move on now to your strike force, the ones who are going to score all the goals. So do you want to talk us through who you've gone with up top?
Yeah, I've gone for two. I've gone for one that's probably fairly obvious, which is Kevin Phillips, who obviously a legend for the football club now. Just scored all types of goals, tap-ins, headers, 40 yards, 30 yards, benders, strikes, you name it. He had it all in the bag. And, when he first signed, I think a lot of people thought, well, I'm not really sure about this one. It wasn't a lot of money and came from Watford, and he's only, what is he, 5'8" or 5'9"? What's this all about? He's an lightning quick, he's like, what's he going to do? How's he going to score goals? But it made no difference to the boy. The lad was just an absolute phenomenon, and certainly the best player we've had in the last 20, 30 years, probably along with Niall. But yeah, so, I couldn't fail to put him in, to be honest. He's just a fantastic player for me, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? I couldn't have said it much better myself. Any sort of goals, weren't just tap-ins, and the same with his strike partner Quinn. Really, where everyone thinks of a big striker as being someone who's just going to sort of be a target man and head the ball in, but they weren't. They're just such skillful players. Like anywhere in and around the box, ball comes to them, most likely it's going in.
Yeah, they were a fantastic partnership, and really, I probably should have put them together because, to be fair, they were the best, certainly strike duo we've had. But I sort of went with, again, I sort of seen it. It's not really my best Sunderland team ever. I think you're asking who's my favourite sort of thing, and my second choice is like Pop Robson, who again, was like just a probably very similar to Kevin Phillips, but Pop would get more goals in the box. Really, he was a proper out and out finisher. His thing was 5 or 10 yards that he worked on throughout all his career, and he scored goals up until he was about 40-year-old. I think he was coach at our place and came on and scored a goal when he was about 40-odd-year-old. So he kept himself really good, a proper professional, and a great finisher. So ideally they might not have been sort of matched together. I don't know, but they're just two of my favourites. So that's why I put Pop in as well, to be fair.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Though. I mean, it's all about it's called My Sunderland 11, not Best 11 or Worst 11. It's your favourite 11. So yeah, that makes sense. So your team's going across the bottom now. So that's a very solid team you picked there. Of course, if you would have to have a manager to manage this team, take them forward, who would you have and why?
Yeah, well, it was the guy that really got the best out of me, and the guy that obviously I know the best is like Dennis Smith. He was a fantastic man motivator, great with people. Things move on, and I understand that it's more tactic based, and there's a lot of things going to football now that have changed. But as somebody that the players believed in and wanted to play for, he's the best I've ever worked with. I've worked with some good managers, but he was the best for me. And any of the lads that played with him at that time will tell you the same. They love playing for him. Him, and I should include in that Viv Busby as well, to be fair, who was his assistant. Both brilliant. Just when you walked out that dressing room door, you felt 6'5" tall. And you wanted to go and win for him and the club, and a great guy, and he's had a good career, so everything he's worked hard for has paid off.
Yeah, I just want to ask really about the manager, and obviously your experience as a player and how important those attributes are that a manager has. What do you think sort of Dennis Smith had that maybe other managers, like say we had like Phil Parkinson, Lee Johnson, obviously they're managing at a very, much lower level than sort of the Division 1. But what do you think sort of the main attributes are that some of the other managers are missing?
I think, listen, the biggest thing about, to me, that I always say is that the first thing is you've got to have the players on side, and if you don't get that, you will never ever get the team performing the way it is. So you've got to get their respect, and whichever way that is as a manager, there's all different ways to earn that respect. But you've got to have that, and if you get that, and you get the boys playing for you, anything can be achieved. You've seen that over time. The best teams don't always win the leagues. Look at Leicester winning the league; they never won the league, but obviously, all the guys bought into what was happening, and then there's loads of things within that come within a football manager's remit now. There's a lot of things, like I say, that have changed, but the biggest thing is overall you've got to have them players when they run out on the pitch believe that they're going to win, and they're going to fight for every ball and fight for him as a manager.
Yeah, exactly. And sort of, it's a difficult question to ask, really. But when you see, teams sort of, let's say, like fall out with the manager, they start playing bad. What sort of would cause that? Would the manager sort of come up with tactics that the players wouldn't be too much of a fan of, or would they just sort of have a disagreement? Like, I'm always quite interested to know. And as an ex-player yourself, like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's like any job. At the end of the day, if someone treats you fairly and treats you well, then they will get the best out of you, no matter what it is. And football is just the same. At the end of the day, they're just somebody there that's there to get the best out of you. So if I treat you badly in whatever job you're doing, Matthew, if I tell you lies or I tell you something and you don't do it, then I start distrusting what you've told me as my as you're my boss. So that has a lot of it. If players start disbelieving what a manager says and he keeps telling them things that aren't true, and he keeps telling them things that don't work out, and he tells them a few porcupines, he tells them you're going to play and they're not, and they end up not playing, and all the things that I hear from with being a football agent, but that happens sometimes. Like I say, it creates a distrust, and then things can accelerate from there and get worse from there, really. Yeah, so that's the biggest thing, is be honest with your players, be truthful with them, and gain their respect.
Yeah, it's fantastic to hear. Well, yeah, Gordon, thank you very much for joining me on this episode. It's been great to listen to your stories of the players and hear a little bit more, about you and your time at Sunderland. Really, as always, video is in association with the Sunderland Food Bank and the Sunderland Fans Museum, so please do go and help support them. Links are all in the description below. If you have enjoyed, please do subscribe to the channel. It's very much appreciated. But yeah, we'll see you all in the next episode. How are the lads?